Greetings, Reverend Sage Cole here, and so happy to be offering a reflection for Deborah's Tree this week. We are in New Church Day season. June 19th, of course, is New Church Day, and the day that we celebrate Swedenborg's first witnessing of the emergence of the new church in heaven, the disciples heading out throughout the heavens to declare the beginning of this era of the new church. And here we are, a little under 300 years later, still seeking to receive and be a part of that new church. This aspect of the new church that I want to lift up today is the image of the woman clothed with the sun, who in the book of Revelation, when she shows up, Swedenborg tells us that she represents the emergence of this new church in the heavens. I love that the new church begins with this image of the feminine, of this powerful woman clothed with the sun, bringing about this new era and this new way. And that feels really fitting to me when I think about the history of life on this planet, especially the last few thousand years or so. Religion especially has been driven and led and dictated primarily by men, by masculine energy, by patriarchal systems. So it would make sense to me, in the understanding that life is a divine marriage between the masculine and the feminine, that after a few thousand years of masculine leadership, it would be time for a more feminine way of being and perspective. Within our own denominational bodies that are committed to the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg and the work of the new church, they too have been shepherded and held in many ways by men and male scholars and ministers for most of its history. Most of that history has been about studying what Swedenborg wrote, seeking to understand and explicate the word, and to preaching and teaching and proclaiming the truths that are uncovered in the texts. At the same time, though, I would suggest that women have also been shepherding that vision. And maybe at this point in time are even more ready to step into the center of making room for this vision of the new church to really come to be and to manifest. Deborah's Tree is certainly a part of that effort, making space for more women's voices to be lifted up. And even those women who aren't coming and speaking here on videos or in churches, I would suggest that there are many women that are shepherding the life of the new church in quieter ways. Lately, I've been doing some crocheting, making some blankets, and really enjoying that handwork. And just thinking about all of the ways that women show up to live the doctrines of the new church through caring for others, for nurturing, for usefulness, and for creative actions like crocheting and crafting and art, and the love of making home, making space. One of the essential aspects of the vision of the new church is that it's not necessarily about correct or perfect doctrine, and it's also not necessarily about correct or perfect practices or spiritual rituals. It's much more about what we are embodying, how we are living those doctrines through lives of kindness and care. And so in many ways, the new church, the ground of the new church, lives there in the way that we care for each other and the way that we care for our bodies and the bodies of one another and the bodies of this earth. And so it's my suspicion that as much as male voices have perhaps led the way in terms of preaching and proclaiming the teachings of the new church, that there are quite likely just as many, if not more, female bodies who are embodying the life of the new church and shepherding community. And truth be told, church would not continue if it was only men standing around and preaching. Church lives and thrives because of all of the people that make it happen. And of course, there's a lot involved in being a church community, not just proclaiming doctrine and carrying ritual, but making food and community and connection and relationship. All of this is important. The masculine and the feminine are both important. And after several thousands of years of primarily masculine leadership, perhaps the new church really is inviting in a more feminine perspective that focuses on becoming, that focuses on embodying, that focuses on being kind and loving, present and connected with each other, not just arguing or debating or proclaiming truth ideals that are disembodied from life, from the life of day-to-day reality in our families, in our communities, with ourselves, with each other, and with God. So whatever you're up to this week in celebration of New Church Day, whether it's contemplating high ideals or crocheting or knitting or crafting or caring, I pray that you are feeling the presence of the new church within, that you're honoring the way in which you are embodying that truth, because that truly is the pathway. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this ministry and lifting up the feminine role in the reception of the new church, because I trusted and believe that it is needed now more than ever. Many blessings, friends. Have a great week.